Why do many men, even successful men and leaders, go for what they want in life, but self sabotage, oscillate, and sometimes drift? What is that invisible force that's holding back men from succeeding to their next level? In this video, I'm going to talk about the oscillating structure, the patterns of self sabotage, and how we access our darkness to break through and sustain your creative potential. Stay tuned. Most men don't fail because they're weak. They're terrified of what the success would require them to become. It's the identity of unveiling the mask. It's connecting to the next level that terrifies us. And there's two reasons that we oscillate or self-sabotage as men. Number one is the fear of inviting that change. Every man has a saboteur inside of him. That saboteur is to protect you and keep you safe. And it's also an invitation to invite the change that would require you to shape and deepen your spiritual path, to take on the identity of your next level. If you are not fully all in, light and dark, and embracing that next level of your identity, you will self-sabotage. The second reason that we oscillate or self-sabotage is the disconnection to our darkness, not activating the dark masculine, not understanding that when we touch our darkness, the part of us that loves to destroy and to build, to chase pleasure and to create, that part of us is a vital part in sustaining creative power. Because if we're just living through the mask, the hero, the protector, the overthinker, the people pleaser, the nice guy, we're only chasing the good, but we're not equally claiming the darkness inside of us. And so the light will lean in and then it'll pull back because the hero will never feel capable enough. The protector will never feel good enough. The people pleaser, the nice guy, will never feel worthy enough to have what he truly desires. And so, as a man, if we're only living through the mask and not integrating the full aspect of our creative potential, we actually will not sustain our creative power. So I want to unpack a lot of this for you today and really help you understand what's acting in a man's psyche, in a man's body, in a man's voice, his words, his will, his action, because everything has to line up for us to stop self-sabotaging and stop oscillating in our life. It's not enough to change your mindset. It's not enough to work on your health, your fitness, your strength. It's not enough to just keep doing the right things and expecting new and different results. We go for what we want, but we pull back. We achieve some success, and then we plateau. We go all in. We think we've got it. And yet we self-sabotage and we enter a drift. Why is this? It's because there is a fundamental difference between having faith and trust and using our ego and our mask to succeed. Now let's break this down, because faith with works is life. Going all in, knowing that you don't need to know how it's going to work out, that exists beyond the people pleaser, beyond the protector, beyond the hero. The five common masks that men wear is the hero, the protector guardian, the people pleaser, also known as the nice guy, the overthinker, and the perfectionist. So let's talk about these five patterns and how they self-sabotage both our capacity to have faith and go all in, as well as our ability to tap the other side of the mask, which is what's underneath, which is the dark masculine, also known as the dark warrior. Let's break this down. Now, as leaders, as we're developing in our childhood, we go through several stages. We go from subconscious development to self-conscious development to activating the soul between the ages of 45 and 55. When we're a little boy, a little girl, we look up to our mommy and daddy, and we're trying to get their praise from dad and the love from mom. Now, as we're looking for love and praise, what we're doing is we're trying to survive under the pressure of not getting it, and we're looking to seek for relevance to stay in control and to be significant in our family unit. So many of us, due to our family field, our family dynamics, we form the hero. The hero feels not good enough, not capable enough. So he's out there to try to win, to prove that he's good enough. The protector, the guardian, is always scanning for threats. They don't feel capable enough. They don't feel safe. And so they feel the need to protect. The protector is type 6 in the Enneagram, and this is the one that feels, I need to make sure everyone is covered. Always scanning for threats. I must stay sharp so I don't miss anything. If something goes wrong, it'll be my fault. I can't fully rest until everything is safe and secure. The protector has that core wound of, I'm not capable enough, I'm not good enough, so I need to keep protecting and keeping everything safe. This pattern is beneficial up until a point. The hero, the protector, the overthinker, the perfectionist, they're helpful to learn skills. They're helpful to become significant in the world and to build your success. But when everything is pushing behind that fragmented orientation of survival, things begin to gradually fall apart later in life. The other pattern is the perfectionist. Now, the perfectionist, type 1, this is an amazing individual because they have an amazing attention to detail. They're thinking that if I do things the right way, I won't be criticized. If I don't control the details, everything's going to collapse. My value comes from how well I perform and execute. So for the perfectionist, their value is how well they perform. The hero, their value is determined by how well they do and what they do for others. Each of these masks has a codependent relationship between their performance, their care, their service, their knowledge. Everything is conditional upon outside forces, causing a continuous fragmentation of power. The overthinker mask is the one that escapes to their mind to protect their heart. The overthinkers have the biggest challenge with intimacy. They're great at seeking knowledge, but sometimes they have a difficult time going an inch wide and a mile deep and truly going all in with something. So they tend to be superficial and they tend to just dabble. They tend to just learn a lot of different things. The overthinker believes that if I understand everything, I'll be safe, always escaping to more knowledge, seeking to know more, but never taking the consistent action to go all in. The overthinker is thinking, I must conserve my energy. Staying in my head is safer than being intimate with my divine partner or my team or my purpose. And so when the overthinker starts to crack, when you start to see through that pattern, you begin to drop down into your body. You begin to drop down into your heart and your intuition and your joy. You begin to drop down into your balls and your connection to your creativity and your power. Each one of these masks, the hero, the protector guardian, the perfectionist, the overthinker, they all have a fundamental practice of living in a survival state. They're fundamentally externally motivated, always outsourced by people, places, conditions, and things, making them permanently codependent on others for their value, their success, and their fulfillment. And they're also permanently fragmenting power. So when you look at your life as a man, as a leader, as you're leading your life, as you're creating what you love, if you're creating behind this pattern, you're fragmenting. And that's why when you go for something and you succeed, the identity of the mask will not let you have what you really want in the full successful vision of it. It will pull you back because it doesn't feel worthy. It doesn't feel good enough. It doesn't feel capable enough. And this mask is your ego. This mask is your subconscious mind. This mask is how you're orienting to your world. And this orientation is the very problem of why you're self-sabotaging, why you're not going all in. When I took the hero mask off, when I said, I'm no longer going to rescue people, I no longer need to win, I can give myself permission to rest without guilt, I can cultivate regenerative power, I can start creating a clear signal, not as the hero, as the noble guardian. The hero gets to transform into the noble guardian, where he begins to own his vision, his values, and mission, where he takes ownership of his noble mission. If you're a hero or a protector or any of the masks, ask yourself, what is the mission that God has placed in your heart? What do you value? And when you get clear on these values and this vision that God has placed in your heart, are you willing to go all in with that first, and not some image, not some status outside of the vision and mission, not some need to prove yourself, because the more you do for others, the more you're going to be valued and loved. That is the trap of the mask and the ego, whereas coming into alignment, coherence with your true vision, your true values, your true mission, This is what begins to awaken the soul, which is the frequency of creativity. And so when you take this mask off and you awaken the soul, you get clear on who you truly are under the mask. You get clear on where your motivation is, unconditional to outside sources. You develop a clear signal and you start to project alignment, coherence. And with that alignment and coherence, you begin to expand capacity. And this is the thing about the hero, the protector, the people pleaser, the nice guy. If you're always trying to expand and grow, but you don't have alignment, if you try to expand your capacity without alignment, you begin to fragment your power. This shows up neurologically, it shows up biologically, it shows up psychologically. Neurology, biology, psychology, alignment, coherence, capacity. In order for you to stop sabotaging your life and stop oscillating, going back and forth, 10 steps forward, 5 steps back, 10 steps forward, 5 steps back. It's like you're in Groundhog Day and you're just doing the same thing, expecting new different results because you can't see the orientation. And look for the Sovereign Power profile below this video. If you want to learn more about this orientation and how to break through, I have a very specific and powerful custom quiz in GPT to help walk you through this pattern and help you walk out of it. You're not the mask, you're a soul living through it. You're not the pattern of survival that you were born into to seek approval from mommy and daddy. You are the soul awakening underneath it with a clear signal to bring orientation, identity, and architecture into your life and to build your own masterpiece. When you're living under the mask, it's like you're a symphony without tuned instruments. And so all these different musicians are playing out of tune because the mask wants one thing, conditional choices, and your intention is to create success, prosperity, and abundance. And so you're fragmented, you're eternally split until you discharge this pattern. You stop choosing from a conditional choice. You stop self-sabotaging yourself in your life, in your family, in your relationships, in your business. And when that mask is unveiled and you find your signal, you find what's underneath, which is vision and values and purpose. You get clear. You're able to articulate your vision, mission, and purpose. I'm here to help transform 10,000 leaders into unlimited energy without chasing trendy traps, biohacks, or supplements, so they can be reborn into alignment, coherence, capacity, getting our men right, getting our families right, building amazing businesses, building thriving cities, communities, and organizations. This is my mission and purpose. When you can articulate that and you connect it to your true power, mask unveiled, what's revealed is the darkness. When the mask comes off, the light of your service. Remember, the mask is not wrong. You're still going to take the mask with you as you step into sovereign power. But you're no longer using the mask as your identity. It becomes the instrument to serve your deeper purpose. Your mask moves from identity to instrument to serve God. Your mask moves from the identity to the instrument to expand the vision that God has placed on your heart. And it's going to take all of you as a leader, all of you as a man. For men, we call it the dark masculine. For women, we call it the dark feminine. The dark masculine is not toxic masculinity. It's not domination. It's not aggression. It's not taking domination over other people. The dark masculine has infinite capacity to face chaos, to move towards pain voluntarily. The dark masculine understands the value of pain and how to turn that pain into fuel or pain into purpose. The dark masculine can hold tension without collapsing. He can confront truth directly. He can cut through illusions. The dark masculine can destroy or he can build by understanding truth from illusion. The dark masculine is the one that will protect your family, protect your wealth, protect your business, no matter what. And some men are weak. Some men collapse under pressure. Some men live in the problem orientation, live in complaints. Some men are drifting and sedating because they don't have access to the darkness and to the power that's within them. The dark masculine can sustain your creative expression through resistance. So if you find yourself going for a goal, no matter where you are in life, it could be 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, but you're fragmenting through your mask, or you don't have enough power in the dark masculine, you will achieve something and then collapse. You will build something up and then it'll just dissolve underneath you because you're not connected to the eternal darkness and the sustained power of creativity inside you. This is the dark masculine. So how do we connect to our darkness? The first thing we have to understand is step 1, unveil the mask. Understand that the mask you carry is hiding it. The mask you're living in is fragmenting your power. And when the mask comes off, darkness emerges. But then you have to learn how to wield it. The second thing to do is to learn to contain power and to hold tension in your body and your mind without collapsing. So there's 2 things you can do to hold tension in your body without collapsing. Number 1 is meditation and Taoist practices of energetic activation. So doing things like testicular activation, fire breathing, building energy in your dantian, the microcosmic orbit, bone tapping. All these Taoist practices build power in the mind, power in the breath, but more importantly, circulating energy in your body. So when pressure comes in, you know how to move that energy. If you are not mastering energetic practices, energetic chi activation, then energy comes in and it gets stuck somewhere in your body. You don't have the tools and skills to move that energy. This is what all the Taoist and yogi masters were teaching in China and India, is how to circulate life force, how to move energy, and how to channel energy. So that's the first thing to activate the capacity to hold tension without collapsing, is to learn how to circulate energy. The second thing is to do physical fitness. But I have a caveat here. A lot of men come into my sovereign training systems and they're burned out. They have neurological fatigue. They have lower back pain, weak knees, pains in the heels. They're waking up tired. They have to use coffee to get through the day because their adrenal glands are so spent. If you are that man, you don't need to be doing heavy cardiovascular, heavy weights, and heavy fitness. You can do things like calisthenics, like plank poses, like gentle yoga, like Taoist energy chi activation practices. You want to do some fitness to contain resistance and to be able to hold that tension without collapsing, but you don't want to push your adrenals while you do it. And so for over half the men that come into my work, they think they need to keep pushing themselves to become powerful. And what they really need to do is just take the mask off and give themselves permission to rest, recalibrate their nervous system, rebuild their adrenals, their thyroid, their pituitary, and hypothalamus. Get that hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal in alignment. And then 6 months later, they can start to build more strength and power in their body. This is highly key. Now, if you have healthy kidney adrenal glands and you're not waking up tired, you're not having chronic inflammation, and you're not using caffeine to get through the day, then yes, I would definitely recommend some more intense physical fitness practices like going to the gym, getting a personal trainer, using weights, doing CrossFit, doing things that help you to hold that tension in your body without collapsing. Now, these are the 2 ways: energetic chi activation, and then being able to hold that tension without collapsing, either through calisthenics or through more intense weight training. This activation of your physical containment of power to hold that tension builds the dark warrior's ability to enter the battle and enter pain and stay. Not feel the pain of growth and run, or feel the pain of growth and then oscillate because you're not good enough, you're not capable enough, you don't have enough, you're not worthy of what you desire. Remember that you're wired to survive. Thriving is a choice. If you're living your life under your mask, you're fragmenting so much power that you're living in survival. And here's the crazy thing about the hero, the protector, the perfectionist. I see men like this build 7-figure empires wearing these masks. They get all the way to success, pushing from the mask, never balancing, never integrating their soul and their mind, their light and their darkness. And they push themselves all the way to the top, and they're burned out because they never got They never got to access their soul. They never got to access regenerative power in the creative process. When you're creating as a man, yes, there's going to be the pain. Growth is uncomfortable, but you don't have to push through survival patterns to achieve the growth you desire. You can actually seek alignment and coherence before you choose to expand your capacity. Shift your orientation, build the identity of the sovereign embodied man. In this new identity, you step in to the dark warrior. The dark warrior emerges right here in the center, because once that darkness is revealed in your path to sovereign power and sovereign alignment, there's an integration of the light and dark, where now there's a new identity that emerges. You are dangerous to the illusion. You're able to cut through illusions, destroy illusions. You're able to call out the truth in yourself and the people you work with and in those people you serve as well. Your team respects you more because you're willing to call them out. You're not afraid of rejection. You're not afraid of being put down. You're not afraid of the relationship ending, because the man who is touching and containing his darkness and his light knows the true power he wields in creation. A man who's not aware of the darkness that lurks within him and how to wield it becomes an oscillating man, becomes a man who drifts, becomes a man who eventually sedates through alcohol, pornography, and THC. So man gets to become aware of this darkness and learn how to wield it consciously. And this is really, really important, because once this power is unleashed, Carl Jung put it this way: we do not become enlightened by chasing figures of light. We become enlightened by making the darkness conscious. And in a man, that darkness is pain. It's also maybe past hurt or trauma. All that energy gets to be transformed and transmuted into a positive alignment with your mission and purpose. Even though pain is a part of growth, so is healing unresolved hurt. And it's two sides of the same coin when it comes to pain. Some men are forged in trauma, in stress, in hurt, but it doesn't have to define us when we activate the dark warrior, because the dark warrior can take all that hurt and immediately transmute it into light. And listen to me very carefully. If you've been running from pain, if you find yourself constantly complaining about what's going wrong and you're not focused and committed, going all in, it's because you're not willing to stay with the pain and you're not connected to your purpose. Once you begin to articulate your mission and purpose, then you start to access the pain of growth and you start to use it more easily as fuel. Purpose is one of the most important things about moving through pain easily. Because if we're just trying to move through the pain for glorifying pain, I see a lot of men's groups, a lot of men's coaching out there glorifying the dark warrior, making the pain romantic. No. You don't romance with pain. The pain is not your badge of success. The pain is dissolved when you're aligned in purpose. The pain is dissolved when you're pulled by a vision, not pushed by your problems. The pain dissolves when you have clarity of purpose, which builds certainty, which means you feel the pain. It comes up from time to time, but it's easy for you to transmit because the vision, the purpose, the mission, it's so clear, it's so articulated. It's like an inexhaustible force of spirit that pulls you up the path of success, alignment, and coherence without having to romanticize or even focus on the pain itself. The pain now becomes the fuel to fulfill your purpose because you're clear in who you are. You're clear in how you serve. You're clear in where you're going. And the mask in this clarity shifts from being the identity to the instrument of serving God in your deepest purpose. So thank you for watching this video. I want to share a little bit about why they oscillate, why they self-sabotage. To review, go back, take some notes, write down the 2 things you need to do to activate your dark warrior, and make sure that you're implementing these things each day. For more information on how to identify the mask that's holding you back and where you're fragmenting power, click the link in the summary below this video or the card in this video and take the Self-Empower profile. My name is Artemis, and I'll see you in the next video.